Don't miss, for the first time in New York, the Cybertruck is on the plaza right now. It is incredibly cool. We believe if you're doing the same thing as everyone else, you will not be hard to compete against. Barron has maniacal focus on differentiation. Differentiated businesses that meet our exacting standards are the cornerstones of Barron portfolios. Tesla and SpaceX are two unique Barron cornerstone investments. The two of them together represent about 14% of our firm's AUM. 10% for Tesla, 4% for SpaceX. The other 86%, and by the way, I think we're going to make a ton in both of them over the next 10 years, 15 years. I think in Tesla, we're probably going to make 6, 7, 8 times over the next 10 years. And in SpaceX, I think over the next 3 or 4 years, we'll probably make a double, $250, $300 billion. And then I think we'll double again by 2030. And then in the 2030s, we can make 10 times. So basically, I'm thinking that in SpaceX, we can make 30 to 50 times our money over the next 15 or 20 years. 30 to 50 times, that's potential for SpaceX. We expect Tesla and SpaceX, the low-cost providers of technologies that are revolutionizing enormous space and transportation industries, will continue to be among the fastest-growing businesses we own. They're large companies, and we still think they're going to be among the fastest-growing companies we own.
It really is incredible that Tesla has 140,000 employees and still move at the speed of light. Elon doesn't seem to get too comfortable with anyone. If he notices you're slowing down, he just says it's time for you to go. He sets insane deadlines, and as an engineer at Tesla, there's always the possibility that Musk could show up at any point to pepper you with questions, so you always have to be ready. This Tesla account made a list of what they think are the top 20 advantages that Tesla has in order of importance, and they listed Tesla's pace of innovation as number 1. And Ron Barron seems to agree, as it was the first thing he talked about after saying Tesla's going to do a 6, 7, or 8x. Elon is just so careful about leading Tesla into snares that are going to slow down the pace of innovation, like unionizing or outsourcing the supply chain. Every time Elon has had success at a company, whether it's Zip2 or PayPal or the early days of Tesla and SpaceX, Elon always takes his earnings and pushes them right back onto the table. And that's what he's doing now with Cybertruck, with V12, with Optimus, and Ron Barron sees that.
Gasoline OEMs had been innovators 100 years ago. In the 1950s, they stopped being innovators and focused instead on making as much money as they could, as much money as they thought they could, and they outsourced their supply chain, which is now to their detriment. Studebaker, Nash, Edsel, DeSoto, Packard, Kaiser, Fisker, Pontiac, Plymouth, Stutz. Small percentage of companies are defunct, and or lines are defunct, and hundreds of them. This is not all, just hundreds of them. Ford, by the way, in a recent disclosure, talked about in electric cars, their dealers don't want to sell them because dealers make money on servicing cars. There's no servicing that takes place in electric cars. But in a recent disclosure by Ford, they said that every car they make, they lose $36,000. They lose $36,000 every time they make and sell an electric car. They make profits on the gasoline cars, but what's going to happen when they don't sell any more gasoline cars? And the dealers don't want to sell electric cars, but sooner or later they're going to have to. Tesla, on the other hand, well, the other car companies are outsourced for all the parts and all the things that you really make money on. Tesla is vertically integrated. They all work together, all one place. Engineers design everything, factories, compute, software, parts, all together. Tesla proprietary data, they're going to have more compute, by the way, than anyone in the world in 18 months. And to test their proprietary data from 100 million miles driven daily and exponentially growing compute to train AI has created autonomous driving advantage that we believe is insurmountable. Most people talk about self-driving going to be 10, 15 years away. I think it's virtually here. You're going to see amazing things happening soon. So far, only Tesla and China's BYD have been able to profitably manufacture electric cars at scale. We think, ultimately, most electric cars will be assembled by others. You don't make much money when you're an assembler. Assembled by others and use Tesla inside technology, including full self-driving. That's like Intel being inside of Microsoft computers. Remember seeing Intel inside? That's what Tesla's going to be in all cars.
Massive statement there. Ron Barron saying that Tesla will make money from every single car on the road. Tesla is already going to be doing that since every car will be charging at Tesla superchargers, but now they're also going to be licensing full self-driving technology, and they're going to have no choice to do so because Tesla has all of the data and all of the compute. And you might say, well, the OEMs, they can just go out and make their own full self-driving technology, right? Well, can they? They still haven't even figured out how to do an over-the-air update. So maybe once they figure that out, then they can try, but they're going to have to install 8 cameras in every vehicle. They're going to have to buy billions of dollars worth of compute. Then they're going to have to find 500,000 beta testers who are super excited about the company to go out and use the software so they can train their software. Oh, and then you have to go and hire the most talented AI engineers in the world. No, that's not going to happen. Every company will have no choice but to license Tesla's FSD because the roads are going autonomous. Lives are at risk. And not only are the roads going autonomous, but they're also going electric. And Tesla happens to be leading both of those charges. And also, Ron Barron said that dealerships don't want to sell EVs because they don't make money on the service because EVs don't require as much service. And that's true. But what's also true is the salespeople at the dealerships prefer to sell the ICE vehicles because they make more money. They make more commission on vehicles that they sell that have a higher gross margin. And of course, Ron told us Ford loses $36,000 per EV sold. So they're hardly going to make any money when they sell an EV. So if Ford is stuck in this business model, they need to figure out how to make a profit on these EVs. Otherwise, these salespeople are never going to want to sell them.
Tesla and SpaceX have the best engineers on the planet. They're the number 1 and 2 career choices for today's top engineering graduates. In 2023, this year, these 2 companies, which employ 140,000 people, 130 at Tesla and 10,000 at SpaceX, 140,000 mission-driven individuals, they had 3.5 million applicants for 30,000 jobs. So most people can't get enough people to fill their jobs. 3.5 million people applied for 30,000 jobs. Harder to get into get a job for SpaceX or Tesla than it is to get into Harvard. Although from what I've been reading lately, I don't know why I'd want to go to Harvard.
It's true. And if you're an engineer at Tesla or SpaceX, you get a godlike status in the eyes of Tesla fanboys like me. You have information that I want to know. You get to see things before anyone else. You get to be a part of the most amazing innovations of all time. Even the salespeople get to be on the inside a little bit. When I went to check out the Cybertruck at my local showroom, people were flocking to the employee by the door asking him questions like, what's the price of the Cybertruck going to be? And whether he knew the information or not, he kind of just shrugged them off and he liked the attention. Tesla and SpaceX just have these amazing missions that everyone wants to be a part of. And last year, Elon said that he has to approve every hire that is made by Tesla, and this might just have been true of engineers. So if you're an engineer coming out of university, you know that simply just by applying at Tesla, you have a chance to get FaceTime, to get the attention of the richest man in the world. And if you get the opportunity to work at Tesla, that also might mean you get to work on projects at SpaceX or even X as well. So I think Tesla and SpaceX are going to have their pick of the litter when it comes to the most talented engineers in the world for years to come.
So why is SpaceX unique? No one else can launch and reuse rockets, refly them, to deploy satellites to provide affordable internet, version 2.0, to everyone on Earth. Everyone. I was reading in the Wall Street Journal a week ago, and they were talking about how the United States government has a program, this is a Biden program, job program, union program, to have $44 billion to set aside to build internet so other people can have them. It's $16,000 a mile to string wire under the ground. And sooner or later, if a wire breaks, you got to figure out where the break is and repair it. It's incredibly expensive. This article was in Nevada, in the desert. They said that they wired a bunch of houses, $53,000 a house. $53,000 a house, Wall Street Journal article. That's instead of taking a service that is available right this moment and having for Starlink, and paying $500 a house, and you have an antenna, you plug it in, point at the sky, and you have internet. So we've chosen to spend $53,000 a house instead of $500 a house to have an antenna. It's crazy stuff going on. So you should think about that when you're voting. On the other hand, when you think about the other people, you think about them too. Everyone's crazy.
That's why it's always frustrating when you're at a party and you hear someone bashing Elon Musk because he's a billionaire, etc. I'm always faced with the dilemma if I should interject and politely let them know that Elon is doing more for saving taxpayer money than any space program ever, not to mention doing more for climate change than anyone ever. But anyways, the Elon Musk and Sandy Munro interview just dropped, so here's Elon on the 48-volt architecture.
I mean, it's people that know a little bit about electrical engineering. You don't need to know a lot, but just a little bit, will understand that you actually want a higher voltage in order to reduce the resistance losses. Right. So the heating in any wire is the current is I squared R. You know, yep. So it's the square of the current. So if you're trying to get a particular power rating through, then as you increase the voltage, you can decrease the current so that voltage times amperage equals your power, so to hold power constant. But the heating is proportionate to the square of the current. So you want to raise the voltage in order to lower the current, thus lower the heating in the wire. And the net effect being that you can have much thinner wires. Then as you raise the voltage, you can drop the thickness of the wire. So you can use much less, in a nutshell, you can use much less copper, and the wire harness weighs much less as you raise the voltage.
Okay, so that was complicated for most of us. So let's get another perspective from Larry Goldberg. He says the traditional vehicle must move 200 amps around the car, but the problem is power loss due to the wiring in the car. So he says power loss is calculated as resistance times the square of the current. So the higher the current, the lower the power loss. So increasing the power supply by 4x to 48 volts reduces power loss by 16 times. That allows for smaller wires and the expensive, troublesome, and difficult to manufacture wiring harnesses that reduce the mass and weight. And if you missed yesterday's video, the contrasted photos here really says it all.
What's the, volume going to be for this thing, say in 12 months? What are you looking at?
Well, we have to be cautious about forward-looking statements as a publicly traded company. This is not and it's also very difficult to forecast the production ramp in the beginning, because the production ramp always is like this very difficult S-curve, which means the production is very slow in the beginning. You're constrained by whatever the least lucky, least competent thing out of 10,000 items is.
Yeah.
So
the weak link.
Yeah, there's at least 10,000 unique parts and processes required to scale production. And whatever like I said, the least lucky, dumbest thing in the whole system, and it could be something complicated or something trivial, that actually sets your output rate. So it's very difficult to predict the slope of that S-curve. That's why, it's, and even just a few months difference, one way or the other, can really change the unit volume. The Cybertruck is not something that will be material to Tesla's financials next year, meaning it will not, of the vehicles we make, it will be still such a small percentage that it will not be material in 2024. It will probably be material in 2025.
Very exciting. And how material are we talking? Well, Gary Black predicts 250,000 units in 2025, which seems quite optimistic for a Gary Black prediction. But he assumes $60,000 average selling price and 20% gross margin. So that's $3 billion in profit from Cybertruck sales in 2025. And that's his prediction, of course, but it's pretty insane. And according to his delivery estimates, he thinks Cybertruck is worth $25 in present stock price value. Guys, that's like 10% of Tesla stock today.
Just one other thing I'd like to talk about a little bit. So we have this iconic vehicle, and it'll be great. I'm hoping I can get a couple of them. So I know that this is going to be a great vehicle, but there's the other guys that are also dying to get a Tesla, the $25,000 Tesla. And so I'm wondering where is that exactly? Where are you with that? About
well,
the new...
I can say a little bit. I just can't tell you, unit volume and dates, because that has a mass. That is a that is projecting the financials.
Yeah.
So we obviously are working on a low-cost electric vehicle that will be made in very high volume. We're quite far advanced in that work. I review the production line plans for that every week, and I think the revolution in manufacturing that will be represented by that car will blow people's minds. It is not like any car production line that anyone's ever seen.
Is this going to have the basically unboxed system, or would this be too much of a question to ask?
The thing that's most interesting about this is it's a production system. It's a level of production technology that is far in advance of any automotive plant on Earth.
I can hardly wait now.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Huge news. Okay, $25,000 car. We're finally talking about it. Guys, this is how we get to 20 million vehicles. This is how we get to robo-taxis. And he says the production line's not going to be like anything we've ever seen before. What do you guys think it's going to be like? What do you think is going to be new? What technology that was in the Cybertruck do you guys think is going to be in the $25,000 car? Let me know in the comments. And if you guys want to talk about this live, we will be discussing these possibilities further in my Discord channel, which you can access by joining the channel as a member. I'm really excited to expand this Discord community so that we can share information and have conversations around these exciting ideas and innovations. So thank you guys for watching and have a great day.